tee height, something that's people talk about an awful lot. There's been a lot of focus on high tee to hit it high and far. However, it does vary person to person. So what is the right tee height and why is it the right tee height? And how do you find out what the right tee height is? All will be revealed. So what constitutes the right tee height? What we're going to do today is look at the pink castle tee, which I've just put in the ground there. That shows the tee. We're going to start off with that tee height. Now the pink castle tee, for over the years, people in the studio, has been the most used tee by a mile by most players. I think there is a premise that you must tee it high to sweep up on it. However, we're going to look at that and see, right, what is that really the case? So I'll get that out of the way. We've got that the same height there, and I'm going to hit it as normal. I'm going to look at, with the tape on the face here, we're going to show where that strike point comes. So this is a tee that most players use. So most players use this tee height. Is it working for you or is it not? And how do you know? So as we can see from this one, that strike point is right up the top of the face. Now, it has been said over the years that you need to hit it high out the face to get the best performance. So this was when the heads had heavier, thicker crowns, so the centre of mass sat higher up the face. Striking it that high up the face, whilst it's good for spin because that gears spin down, you're striking it above the centre of gravity line, what we are doing is losing a bit of ball speed. So that swing I've hit up on it 3 degrees, but efficiency 146. Now it's not horrendous, but it's not optimal. And as you can see from that strike point being that high, there's less guts behind the contact. So essentially, striking it there, the head's gearing that way, and so you're losing energy into the back of the ball. So for me, I need to tee it lower. So actually, quite a lot lower. When you're using the castle tees, I'm nearer the white one. Now, you think, well, teeing it lower makes you hit down on it, but not necessarily. So this one, it's noticeably lower down the face. As you can see from that mark there versus there. But the angle of attack is still 3.8, 3.6 up on it. So just because the tee's lower doesn't necessarily mean you're going to change your angle of attack. For me, I don't need a high tee because my club's almost brushing the ground on the way through. So I can still hit up on it without having a very high tee. If I were to tee it very high, to get that club onto the right bit of the club onto the back of the ball, I'd have to sit back and hit up on it more, which my miss left, that's a horrendous thing to do. Having said that, some players really suit a high tee. Ultimately, it depends on how high above the ground your driver head is at impact as to what tee height really suits. So, James, my business partner, we always used to joke he needed to apply to the council for planning permission every time he played a golf course because he teed it so high. But that doesn't mean that he's going to strike it high out the face. For him, that meant he struck it out the middle. So how can you tell? So the most important thing is finding a tee height that gives you solid contact. Because solid contact, that lower tee height and lower strike has given me a 149 efficiency, 161 ball speed. It's created more ball speed because it's just striking a more efficient part of the head. So what tee height gives you the most stable, consistent contact? How do you tell that? Well, if you haven't got the tape that we get here, you can find some spray, some powder-based sprays that when you're practicing, you can spray the face, and being powder-based, they can wipe off, a little bit of water, they'll clean off, but spray the face, hit, and it will leave you the dimple marker of the ball on the face. So like an athlete's foot spray, sounds a bit odd, but actually being powder-based, that gives you a perfect mark on the face, which shows you where that strike point is. And having a little bit of a play around with the tee heights to see, right, what from a natural swing feel, what strike point is most consistent and most central. So a lot of heads now, where they've gone so much lighter in the crown, the sweet spot on the head is central or just a fraction above centre. You're better to err a hair higher out the face than low on the face, simply because low on the face gears spin up a little bit. High on the face takes a little bit of spin off, so you're better off a little bit above centre than too low. But you'll also know it from a feel, how solid that feel is. But if you need the validation, then the ball mark in the face will give you that shot to shot. But what you will find you'll need to do is, after a couple of shots, clean it off, reapply the spray so that you don't get pock marks all over the face. But ultimately, kind of trial and error ultimately is the best way to determine this. I know from years and years and years of playing that I know I don't need a high tee, and I know a high tee brings in a hook for me because it makes me try to hit up on it more and flip the face. And there are some players where a low tee encourages a bit of a downward hit, and so then actually this is then when a low tee can get high on the face because it encourages the downward strike. So having a test of some tees, it might be that you use the castle tees, you've got a white, a pink and an orange. They're three noticeably different heights. Which one gives you the best strike point most consistently? What that's going to give you is ball speed, distance, but it's also going to mean, because of better, more efficient contact, I should add, but it's also going to mean not having to contort yourself into an inefficient delivery position, which means that the shot patterns get a little bit more spread. There are going to be times that from a technique point of view, a higher or a lower tee helps move the swing in a particular direction. So if you do hit up on it 7, 8 degrees, if you're fortunate enough to be able to practice with a launch monitor that can tell you this, then moving the tee down a bit will make you need to get a little bit more on top of it and soften that down. If you're 1 or 2 degrees down on it, a slightly higher tee can help encourage that shallower delivery and a slightly more upward strike. But that's something that you should certainly work on with a coach, and having the data to back it up is a massive plus. So tee height itself, it isn't a one size fits all, like with anything in all walks of life, particularly golf. But working out what your optimum tee height is to get you the best strike point most consistently, that will add yards, it will add consistency, and it should make your teeing off game much, much better.